I am so excited for this new year. We have 9 new regenerative enterprises that we're adding to this homestead. So I can pretty much guarantee that whether you are a homesteader, aspirational homesteader, small-time farmer, whatever, there's going to be something that you can take away from this video. Okay, so at the High Mountain Homestead, we're all about regenerative agriculture on a small scale. That's what we do here. That's what this channel is all about. So if you're here, chances are you understand a little bit about what regenerative agriculture is, and there's a lot of different definitions and enterprises that go into that. You hear a lot of words thrown around like biodiversity and cover crop and ruminants. Certainly all of these things are under the umbrella of regenerative agriculture, but they aren't synonymous terms. Like biodiversity and regenerative agriculture aren't the same thing. One is the bigger term and one is something that you do to achieve regenerative agriculture. So there's a lot of definitions of regenerative ag. I really like Joel Salatin when he says anything that increases the commons, commons being kind of a catch-all term for soil health, water health, capturing nutrients in the soil. There's a lot of ways to go about it. So basically regenerative agriculture is focusing on the soil so that in the future you have a more prolific and more enduring harvest. Okay, you guys are all really smart people. You know what regenerative agriculture is. Let me go and actually show you and talk about the 9 things that we're going to be doing this year. All right, the first thing that should be on pretty much anyone's regenerative homesteading list should be no-till gardening. So we've got 2 methods that we're going to be exploring next year. In fact, last year we built these in the late summer and had a fall crop of some beets and some lettuce. We love these garden boxes. I should do a video on how we built them because we built them for an insanely low cost and they're holding up quite nicely. Obviously a raised planter bed is great for no-till. We've got some old logs and stuff at the base of this. It's all really rich compost. It's tall enough to where we're not really getting any weeds in there. And then we cover the top of it with some like bark chips kind of a thing to help with water retention and keep weeds down. An amazing no-till method. We also have all of this extra space. Let's take a look at what's on this ground. It's a cover crop, which is something I'll be talking more about later. I planted Ladina white clover in the garden area. It's winter right now, so it's not doing super hot, but it's still here. I freaking love clover. It's so amazing. But we have a ground cover here, a cover crop, and clover's superpower is that it's able to take nitrogen from the air and put it into the ground. And so what we're going to do is in the growing season, basically mow all this clover, because it can get pretty darn tall in the growing season. Mow this clover, and then we take our starts that we will have started for things that don't make sense to do in a planter bed. And what this clover does on the ground, since it's taking all that beautiful nitrogen out of the air, nitrogen is really good for crops with an above ground crop, which is, oh my gosh, corn, tomatoes, okra, these really tall crops. I'm just really looking forward to doing some no-till in this garden. So our second enterprise on our regenerative agriculture journey is going to be expanding our ruminants on the pasture. We have 2 pastures. Each one is give or take 2 acres. That grass coming into the back is my neighbor's property. I'm pretty jealous of that. And then here's our second pasture with the solar on it. Each one is about 2 acres. We're incorporating some silvopasture in the back, which is kind of another regenerative enterprise. But ruminants on the pasture is going to help us a ton. We have sheep right now. These 4 are going to, well, basically they've all got about a month here. Most of them are going to the freezer. 1 or 2 of them is going to be sold as a stud. So I'm kind of torn between 3 options. Either raise out some rams again, or maybe get some billy goats on here, because this pasture really has a lot of forbs and weeds on it, so some goats could be great on that. And the third option is maybe finishing off 2 steers on these pastures. We'll see, but definitely doing ruminants on the pasture. We want the ruminant poop on the pasture. The soil loves that. Okay, enterprise number 3 also has to do with pasture. This is the winter, so it doesn't look great, but Even in the summer it doesn't look great, not because it's not green, it's too green, just with weeds. Our north pasture gets a lot of sun because these trees over there, whereas our south pasture gets less sun, and so it's got some cool weather grass that's just doing really great. This pasture, however, I think I might need a smother cover crop. So that is our third enterprise, is a cover crop. I was thinking of possibly hairy vetch, maybe hairy vetch and oats combination. But yeah, cover crop is going to be huge. I guarantee whatever I'll do, I'll be throwing clover out here because clover is just an amazing pasture cover crop. It's a perennial, it's a nitrogen fixer, which helps everything out. Cover crop is going to definitely be part of our strategy next year. All right, number 4 has to do with this area, which I've never filmed in. You're like, where is this place, PJ? We've used this for a runoff, kind of like spillover area for sheep in the past. But really, what we've wanted to do with it, ever since we put it in here, our mindset has always been to finish out hogs here. We have this area, I think it's like 110 feet by 110 feet square. We also have some other areas that we can rotate within there, but we're going to be finishing out hogs here. Now, the way that we're going to be doing hogs regeneratively is, one, doing them in the forest. This is kind of like partially cleared forest, so we've got a good amount of trees here. Also, what we plan on doing here is really just collecting manure and doing some good stuff with that. Hogs are, I think, the only farm animal that establishes a bathroom area. So that'll make life real easy, because if you look over here, we're right by the garden where we were like 3 steps ago. Okay, one last thing I forgot about pigs and how to do this regeneratively. We are on a small place, and we have, I think, ample space to finish out 2 weaned pigs, but the idea here is to test it for a couple of years, finish out a few pigs on here, and then look what I have to expand into. There's about 4 or 5 acres of trees and forest over here. That's what pigs want. That's going to be amazing if we can do that. So when I say regeneratively raised pigs, I'm starting it out here, going to learn the ropes on pigs. And you can see I've got no fence back there, but I'd love to expand that way and start doing pigs. So give me a year or 2 to test it out on a smaller scale. I guess I don't really need to move to talk about my next point because I don't have it done yet, but that's compost boxes. So we do have a compost box now. It's by our house. It's mostly for like eggshells and some kitchen scraps for whatever reason we don't give to the chickens, which pretty much all of our chicken scraps we give to the chickens. And then we do like shredded paper and cardboard, which it was just Christmas season, so we have a lot of cardboard in there right now. But we haven't done true composting here. And so with our garden, which is right over there, we're going to be building a few compost boxes out of pallets. Very simple, but hey, we don't have it yet, and we're going to be doing it next year, or this year. It's 2023 already. Right now I'm exiting the pig run and walking into our annual run, our garden, where look, we're back to the boxes. And what I wanted to point you to is what's going to go next to the boxes. So we have the boxes, we have where our no-till bigger crops are going to go. Next to that, we are going to be building some kind of water catch system. Most likely a greenhouse, in fact, certainly a greenhouse. But the greenhouse is actually not what I wanted to talk about. It is the water catch system. So we're going to be getting a tank in there. Water catch is really beneficial, especially for us, because we don't have a pond. We're getting all of our water from our well, which you might think like, oh, well, a well, it comes from the earth, therefore it's regenerative. No, incorrect. Wells draw from the aquifer. That is extracting away from the commons. Really, the only way to add to the commons from a water system is, 1 is to create a pond, and 2 is to catch water. So I think we'll get probably 1,000, maybe 1,200 gallon tank right here, catch water off of the greenhouse, and use a solar powered pump to basically water all of this. And it's so great because, chickens are right here, the garden is right there, the pigs will be right behind me, the pasture's behind me again. Sorry if I'm giving you vertigo, but it's just such a central location. I love the fact that when we bought this homestead, there was nothing going on, absolutely nothing. It was a house, a road, bushes and trees. And it's given us time that as we've cleared, we've really thought about this from a permaculture standpoint of what's going to be good. Okay, number 7 is an exciting one. It's called Hugel Couture. It's called Hugel Couture. I'm not saying it right still. And it's an exciting thing. So we've got lots of forest over there. It's really good stuff. And we find these rotted logs in the forest. And what we're doing is we get these logs and we stack them up next to our fences. And the idea is to go out, extract really well-rotted logs, put them in a wheelbarrow, huck them over your shoulder, put them in your truck, whatever, stack them up, and put compost or soil on top and grow on there. And you let the nutrient-rich wood decompose, create a very fungal-rich soil, and just grow on it. I think beans would do really well here, like get a few more logs, a pile of compost, and then we've got a fence for beans on there. It's gonna be magical. All right, we're nearing the end, but I gotta talk about number 8, which is expanding our layer flock. Right now we have only 3 layers, and this rooster over here who we thought was a hen. Thank you, local feed store, for that little darling. But anyway, we've got chickens here. I want more. I want more chickens, not just because I want more eggs, but because there's so much you can do with a regenerative mindset with chickens. All animals are employees on the farm, and chickens' job is to make compost. So we have this area, this is where all of our food scraps go to. There's loads of chicken poop, there's loads of carbon because we put wood chips here, and there's loads of composting materials that the chickens leave over. Chickens are going to be building compost for us, and when they're not building compost, they're dropping their goodies, because this area we've got big plans for. But we've created this really cool system. I talked about it earlier. We've got a gate right there that leads to our garden that we call our annual run, where we've got our raised beds, our no-till garden that's going to be, and then all of that connects to the pigs area. Pigs are not going to be a year-round operation, and so having these chickens to be able to move from their run to the pig run to the garden, subdividing the garden with that electric poultry netting over there, more chickens dropping more nitrogen in these places is going to be so beneficial for us. So more hens, more eggs, more nitrogen, more compost, more regenerative. Okay, and finally, number 9. I'm still in the chicken run, but I'm over to this line right here where we've done our first the opposite of annual, our first perennial plants right here. So we've got some figs and some blueberries right here. Basically what we want to do is turn this area, it's about 40 feet by I think like 90 or 100 feet, but we want to turn this into an absolute lush food forest for these chickens. So we've got the electric poultry netting up right here that's protecting those young starts, but we've got all this area to grow into with more fruit trees, fruit bushes. I'm picturing things like sunchokes, pawpaw, blackberry, raspberry. There's just so many options that we have here. It creates an environment that these chickens are going to love. They're going to lay eggs, they're going to collect fruit, and they're going to be fertilizing this perennial area. Perennial food is part of our future of regenerative agriculture. Perennial food, once it's established, creates a lot of food for a long time. Oh my gosh, if you stuck with me on this whole video, kudos to you. You are a regenerative warrior. I talk really fast about this stuff, but even still, I draw it out. And that was intentional to talk quickly. I covered 9 things here today, not in detail on any specific one. And that's because we have the whole year to do that. Right now is winter time. It's a lot of talking and planning right now. But if you're not subscribed to the channel, I encourage you to do so. If any of this is interesting to you, we're going to be doing it in real time here. So if you want to do it, or you are doing it, or you have done it, this is going to be the place for you. So thanks for watching this video. Regenerative agriculture is very important to me and this channel. I hope to see you on another video. Thanks for stopping by the High Mountain Homestead today. I'll see you on the next one.